The last video I did on this channel, I did a comparison about living in Jamaica and living in Canada. I shared some very important points in that video. Based on an overwhelming demand for a part 2, here we go. In this video, we will be doing a part 2 of what it is like living in Canada compared to living in Jamaica. Today we're going to be talking about other issues like income, cost of living, dating, transportation, and a number of different factors. So if you guys are new to this channel, please take a quick second to just do the right thing. Hit that subscribe button, smash a like on the video, and leave your thoughts in the comment section. This is a Canada that you won't see on TV. You won't see this Canada anywhere else other than on this channel, where we share a real life perspective of what it is like to live in Canada. So if you like this kind of content, stick around. Wow guys, look at that sunrise. It is now 7:20 a.m. in the morning and it's finally starting to look like springtime. So I'm going on a walk this morning, taking you guys along with me while we have this conversation. But I had to show you guys what that sunrise is looking like right here in Grand Prairie, Alberta. And I want to give a huge shout out to a few persons. I want to give a huge shout out to one, all the persons who have watched the previous video, part 1, and has shared their thoughts in the comment section and has asked for this part 2 version. Thank you guys so much. Secondly, I want to thank and welcome all the new subscribers to the Anderson's family channel. Thank you guys so much for seeing it fit to hit that subscribe button and becoming a part of the Anderson's family. Thirdly, I want to give a huge shout out to our channel members. We don't have a huge amount of channel members at the moment, but we have a few. So for the few that we have, I want to say thank you guys so much for taking the extra step in supporting us, right? Really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for becoming a part of the Anderson's channel membership. It's a little chilly. And thirdly, I want to send a huge shout out to, let's call him a friend here in Grand Prairie, Alberta. He is someone who watched every one of our videos, and anywhere he sees us in the street, he's never shy to come up and say hi. We want to say a huge shout out to Liam. Liam, if you're watching this video, thank you so much for watching our videos and for supporting us. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much, Liam. And I hope you and your family have a fantastic day today. All right, this shout out is specifically for you, Liam. So that's enough talking. Let's get into the video. Sidewalk is very icy, guys. Walking on ice. Look at that. Life in the Great North. Okay, let's tackle the first topic right now, guys. Income. Now let's compare the income in Canada to the income in Jamaica. And the reason why I'm really using Jamaica as my point of reference is because that's where I'm from. So I've not lived in any other country, so I can only use where I've been or lived, right? So let's use the minimum wage in Jamaica compared to the minimum wage in Alberta, because I'm living in Alberta, so again, I have to use that as my point of reference. Please note though that each province has its own minimum wage standard, but in Alberta it is $15 per hour. In Jamaica, the minimum wage for the week is currently $15,000. Jamaican dollars, which if you do the conversion using $110 or using $100 for simplicity, you're looking at roughly 150 Jamaican dollars for the entire week of work, right? 150 Jamaican dollars, Canadian dollars, is the minimum wage at an exchange rate of 110, of 100, sorry, what I use, to $1 Jamaican. So that's what it is in Jamaica. So $15,000 currently, which is scheduled to increase, based on my understanding, to a whopping $16,500, which is not much. $15 more Canadian. Alberta, the minimum wage is paid per hour, which is $15 for an hour's work. Now, if you calculate $15 for the average work day of 8 hours, you're looking at roughly 120 Canadian dollars for the day, sorry. 120 Canadian dollars for the day. $120 per day Canadian, which is 12,000 Jamaican dollars per day, right? 12,000 Jamaican dollars per day compared to 15,000 Jamaican dollars per week. That's the difference in income in Alberta opposed to Jamaica, right? So after that, you see that income is a lot more, which is expected in Alberta than in Jamaica. However, a dollar is just a dollar. We hear that all the time. A dollar is just a dollar. So even though you're earning more, you're also spending more. Spending more in the sense that the average rent, I don't know what the rent right now is in Jamaica, but when I was there, you could get a decent apartment or place to live for 50,000 Jamaican dollars for an average small family like mine. 50,000 Jamaican dollars at an exchange rate at $100 is roughly 500 Canadian dollars for the month, right? So you're looking at roughly $500 per month in rent in Jamaica. Average when I was there. I want you guys to comment and tell me if that has changed. Now, here in Alberta, Grand Prairie to be precise, the average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment, I'd round it up at $1,500 for the month, which would be 150,000 Jamaican dollars. So right there after that, you see that even though you're earning more, you're also spending more. Everything is relative. You can probably get things a little bit cheaper, or things can be a little bit more expensive as well. And that's just rent. Now let's use things like housing, like to buy a house. The housing market in Jamaica, from what I've seen based on my research, is pretty similar to the housing market here in Alberta, which I find fascinating. The average house that I'm seeing in Jamaica right now is 250,000 Canadian dollars, ballpark, right? Which is worked out to be roughly 25 million Jamaican dollars. Again, using an exchange rate of 100 to 1. The exchange rate technically is $110, so it's a bit more, but for simplicity. So the housing in Alberta, Grand Prairie to be precise, is not really much more expensive than what it would cost you in Jamaica, which is mind-boggling to me, to be honest, because if the minimum wage is so significantly less, why is it that housing is pretty much comparable? However, what I would like to say is that a vast majority of the population in Jamaica don't really live on minimum wage. They live above minimum wage. But a lot also live on minimum wage. But we have to just use that as the point of reference. But I do know that a lot of persons in Jamaica earn and live on more than the minimum wage, right? Now let's talk about groceries. Grocery prices varies based on where in Canada you live. Obviously, as mentioned before, I have to use where I live as point of reference. The average grocery shopping, my household grocery shopping for a family of 4, which is not really comprised of anything really over the top, like we're not going out buying steak and lobsters and stuff like that. We're just buying the regular household products most time. You're looking at an every 2-week budget of roughly $350 to $400, right? That's what the average grocery bill is gonna cost you here in Grand Prairie. Anywhere between $350 to $400. Depends on what you're purchasing, of course. In Jamaica, that would be 35,000 Jamaican dollars to 40,000 Jamaican dollars every 2 weeks, right? Now, I haven't lived in Jamaica for a while. I left Jamaica in 2019. I know that a lot of things have changed from them time till now, but when I was in Jamaica, our weekly grocery bill was hovering roughly $25,000, comprising of supermarket and market and stuff like that, which would be roughly 250 Canadian dollars every week. So again, you're earning less in Jamaica, but the price of groceries is almost comparable. The difference though that I would like to say is that in Jamaica, you can get things, you can grow your own food. You can grow your own food here too, so let me not say that, but in terms of, you have a lot more access to food. You have a lot of fruit trees, you have a lot of vegetables, a whole lot of things where you can save money a lot more on food in Jamaica than in Canada. There are persons in Jamaica who literally only buy their meats and seasoning and some other stuff, and they grow everything else, right? So it's really relative. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about is safety. A lot of persons don't like when we talk about this topic because it tends to paint one community into a negative light. However, we have to talk about our experience. Now, the truth of the matter is, that's where there's a lot of room for improvement in Jamaica. Now, Jamaica is a developing country, which means that there's a lot of things that can be improved upon. A lot of things going on, well, better in Jamaica than in Canada. But unfortunately, safety is not one of them. In Canada, you are relatively safe. In Alberta, again, that's where I'm living, you're relatively safe. Relatively safe in a point that you don't have to worry about certain things. Possibility of crime happens everywhere. There's no community that's 100% safe. But the truth of the matter is, you're a lot safer here than you probably be on the streets of Jamaica. For example, this video that I'm doing right now, I am walking, as you guys can see, and for filming, I'm using my phone, which is an iPhone 16 Pro, to film this video. And I'm walking, and I have absolutely no fear, none whatsoever, that somebody's gonna come and snatch my phone. None whatsoever. Now, would I be doing the same thing in Jamaica? Probably not, if I'm being 100% honest and transparent. The thing is, you can have this phone in Jamaica, but you're gonna have to keep it almost hidden and out of sight. You can't be walking with it like this, because the truth of the matter is, you might lose your phone or your life over your phone, and that's just the truth. So safety is much more of a not much of a concern here in Grand Prairie, Alberta. Pretty much we go anywhere. We walk anytime without a fear most times, which is a big deal for us. I saw something on the ground. I thought it was something else. Yeah. So safety in Canada is obviously much better than in Jamaica. We're not even gonna talk about the larger crimes, like the more well, every crime is a crime, but like the more serious crimes, like, you know, the homicides, the the type of crimes I'm talking about. Those are a lot more prevalent in Jamaica as well. Again, a lot more room for improvement, right? So living in Canada, that's something that you have to be prudent and vigilant anywhere you live. However, it's not so much of a big deal here compared to Jamaica. Now, let's talk about transportation. Transportation depends on where in Canada you live. A lot of persons watching this video right now, you guys probably have never visited Canada or lived in Canada before, so you don't know. But Canada is very big, and each province is almost like its own mini country. Not only that it's its own mini country, but each province has its own little mini, let's call it parishes, for context, which in Canada we call it cities. So even though you have a bigger province, you have many different cities within that province. Now, some cities are bigger than some, and some cities are pretty rural. Now, in Alberta, the largest cities are Calgary and the capital city, which is Edmonton. Now, in those cities, you have a lot more transportation options. You have options like you have the LRTs, which are the train system, passenger train systems. You have the public bus system. You have different taxi services. You also have Uber and different rideshare opportunities for transportation. Now, in Jamaica, you don't have public passenger train, and you have a few private owned taxi services, and now I'm understanding that you have now more rideshare companies, right? But the public taxi system that exists in Jamaica doesn't exist here in Alberta. You know, where you have taxis lying up with them red plate, and they have, a flat fee and stuff like that. You don't have those public taxi services here. Again, talking specific for Alberta. But you do have private taxis, like you have your yellow cab, Apple cabs, no more different ones. And they have to charge a flat rate per kilometer, right? So it's not like they have a taxi stand where you go to a taxi stand and get a taxi like what you do in Jamaica. No, but instead what you do, you'll call a taxi to come to your house or your place of pickup and take you to your destination, you alone, and then you pay your fare. In Jamaica, taxi is as much as it can hold. Like total random strangers sharing a ride together in a car, as much that can fit within that car. Because obviously the driver is trying to maximize profit. So it's profit over comfortability. It's profit over, it's profit over everything. So that's what the public passenger taxi is like in Jamaica. Here, you have, in Grand Prairie to be specific, you don't have trains. You only have public buses, and you have private taxis, and you have rideshare. But the rideshare that we have here in Grand Prairie is not quite as large as Uber. There are some different companies, so forth, so on. And that's how you get around without a car. So you call a private taxi, which can be pretty expensive, or a rideshare, or you go to the bus stop and take a public bus, right? The buses are pretty much similar to Jamaica, where the fact that they are numbered. So based on the route, You take the number bus that takes you to your route, pay your fare upon entry, and so forth, so on. The thing is, depending on where you live, of course, you're not gonna have that crowd to join a line and push and to go into the bus here in Grand Prairie. But I've seen videos in larger cities where buses are really congested. But here, you don't have that issue per se. I'm really enjoying this walk, guys. Let me show you guys what the morning is looking like. There's that sunrise again. I'm just walking through my neighborhood, guys. Yeah, let me take the camera off me for a little while. Show you guys what my neighborhood is looking like as we continue this video. Yeah, so we're talking about the fact that the buses here in Grand Prairie are 9 out of 10 times pretty empty. You can choose where to sit, so forth, so on. Now, for transportation fare, the buses here in the city is $3 for adults, but you have a number of different subsidies for kids and disabled and elderly people and so forth, so on. But the base rate for adults is $3, right? However, that $3 lasts for, I think, up to 2 or 3 hours. Don't quote me, I haven't taken the bus in a while. It simply means that you can transfer until that 2 or 3 hours is up. So you can pretty much go around the entire city twice, 3 times, right? And it's the same thing, I'm sure, in Edmonton and other parts of Alberta. You can transfer up to a certain amount of time. So you take the bus at a point, you pay your $3, and that takes you around the entire city for a couple of hours. $3 Canadian at an exchange rate again of 100 to 1 is 300 Jamaican dollars. Now, when I was in Jamaica, the average cost for a bus ride was 100 Jamaican dollars, which would be equivalent to $1 Canadian dollars. Now, I know that has increased. I'm not sure what's the base rate right now. Hopefully one of you guys can comment and let me know what the cost is right now for an average bus ride in Jamaica, right? Okay. Now, the other thing I want to talk about living in Canada compared to living in Jamaica is dating. Dating. See? More ice, guys. More ice. It's dating. Now, for context, I've been out the game a while. I've been out the game a long while, so I'm really using other person's experience to guide my opinion on this topic, right? So, in Jamaica, I have dated. In Jamaica, I have dating experience and how to pick up chicks and stuff like that in Jamaica. But I came to Canada married, so I don't have that experience really in Canada. So for my Canadian portion, after comparison, I'll be relying on my friends and colleagues, both male and female, for reference, right? Now, dating in Jamaica, it's pretty straightforward. You see someone you are interested in, you approach the person you are interested in, you shoot your shot, and you hope for the best. And you hope for the best. That's how it is in Jamaica. Now, face-to-face contact is the main source of meeting someone in Jamaica. You can meet somebody in the bus, meet somebody in the street, meet somebody in a workplace, which I highly would not recommend. Meet somebody in the school, meet somebody in the store, regardless. But oftentimes, face-to-face contact is the main point of meet. Here in Canada, it's a little bit different. People have to be a lot more sensitive to other persons. So because of that, a lot of people don't approach each other. So the main point of contact is really dating apps. It's really hard to meet somebody organically here in the city. And this is a bus stop. When I just came to Canada, I found it very hard to find the bus stops, because I was looking for a bus stop that resembled what Jamaica bus stop looks like, which you do have some of those. I'm not gonna lie, you do have some of those, which is like the actual building and structure around, the thing that clearly it's a bus stop. You do have some of those, but depending on where in the city you are, this is what the bus stop looks like. You have the seat, just a bench. So you're just like, this is it now. You're on this trail, you're walking, you see this bench. How do you know that this is a bus stop? But this is a bus stop. Now, the wise persons are gonna tell you that, hey, there's a sign, of course. One, if you're coming from this direction, the sign is facing that way. And two, oh, that's not even a sign. The sign is on here. False alarm. Yeah. So the sign is facing the opposite way. That's for one. And two, this is all you'll see to represent the bus stop, which is, you see the Route 7 and a bus. But if you're not paying keen attention, it's very easy to miss. Okay, so let's have a seat at the bus stop and talk more about dating. Yeah, guys, so it's very hard to meet somebody organically here in Canada, right? Because a lot of persons get offended very easily. So a lot of times, especially if you're coming to Canada as an immigrant, you have to be very careful of how you approach somebody you're interested in. There's a fine line between trying to give somebody a compliment and harassment or offending that person. A very fine line, and a lot of persons don't know where that line is. So what a lot of persons do is they just don't approach somebody. So they see somebody they're interested in, and what they do, they really just sit, they just don't tell the person, right? You do have cases where people are bold and stuff like that, but I'm talking about from a majority perspective, right? So don't tell me about the one person who is forward and stuff like that. As a culture, it's a very reserved culture. People, they don't really they're not very forward, right? They probably try to drop a little subtle hints and stuff like that. But for the vast majority of meetups, it's, from what I've seen, it's really having dating apps and so forth, so on. Or you're introduced to somebody and then, different thing, but it doesn't really happen organically. And because of that, a lot of persons are lonely, a lot of persons are alone, and a lot of persons are just like by themselves and depressed, because it's hard to meet people. And even friends is the same thing. Like coming here in Grand Prairie as an immigrant, it's hard to make friends because the persons here, they're very cliquey in terms that they go to school with the same persons, they grew up in the same neighborhood with the same person, so they stick to those persons pretty much all their lives. So coming to this city or to this country or this province as an immigrant, it's hard to find a group of people that you can break into and become a part of that social space, right? Now you may have a lot of acquaintance, you make a lot of relationships, and you become acquaintance with a lot of people, but that deep friendship it's hard to make here. It's hard to make here. Like, for example, we're here for 6 years now, and we're pretty out there, and like we have a lot of persons who we know and stuff like that, but to say that we have those like core friendship groups, no, it's very hard. It's very hard, and a lot of immigrants face that as well. But in Jamaica, it's totally different. In Jamaica, it's very easy. It's very easy to meet somebody organically. It's very easy to break into different friendship groups and stuff like that. So that's one of the things that you won't see on TV. Nobody will tell you that on TV about Canada, but I think that has been enough for us. Let's continue the walk. If you guys like this conversation and you want to see more comparisons or more about what it is like to live in Canada from a non-marketing perspective, please let me know in the comment section. And I will do a part 3, part 4, part 5, as much as it takes for you guys to have a clear understanding of what it is like to live, work, and raise a family here in Canada. The best way to let me know that you enjoy this content is to like the video. For this particular video, I have a goal. And my goal is very small, 100 likes. So if you guys are watching this video right now, I'm asking you guys to support me by just simply hitting that like button. I want to get to at least 100 likes on this video, but I can't do it if you guys don't hit the like button, right? So I'm asking you guys right now to support me by just hitting the like button and get me to 100 likes in this video. My second goal for this video is to get at least an additional 50 subscribers from this video. So if you guys are watching this video right now and you're not yet subscribed, I'm asking you guys please to help me reach my goal of 50 subscribers by simply hitting that, oh, not a batch of ice, guys. You hear that? I have to try to carefully. If you want to see my comparison about the weather and stuff like that, check out part 1 where I spoke about the weather. As I was saying though, guys, my goal is to reach or to get an additional 50 subscribers from this video. So if you have found any value whatsoever from this video, please support me by hitting that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. So again, 100 likes and additional 50 subscribers, both of which is really free and takes only a second. So support me by doing that, guys. Really appreciate it. I'll end this comparison video right here right now. Comment and let me know if you want to see a part 3. I will continue the series as I continue my walk. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.